I'm Derek.
Hey, I'm Emily Poplin.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Buss, and I'm a technical theater major.
Hi, I'm Kelly Perenboom.
Hi, my name's Michael.
Hi, I'm Natalie Vandenhavel.
I'm Tamar.
The best way to learn and meet people is to go to light hangs, go to strikes, even if you're not involved, because you pick up on so much that you don't necessarily cover in class.
I wish I would have known that I would have been the world's worst craftsman because my stagecraft class was an embarrassment. And if I would have just listened to my dad when he told me how to build stuff, I'd been like, look at me guys, professional.
Glue is glue. It's actually the most useful thing I learned in scene shop.
I wish that I knew I should have not bought my books from the bookstore.
Excellent.
And that I should have cleared my theater major right away instead of waiting a semester.
I wish that I would have been able to be as free as I can be, as far as being able to make choices and freeing myself to make more interesting choices.
If you want to try something, you should do it.
Don't date inside the theater department.
But mostly don't date in the department.
Title of show, I think. Just all of it. Cabaret, too. Cabaret was good.
And KV called me Shannon in class. We were sitting sewing and she's like, Shannon, I'm sewing because obviously I'm a professional. And I'm not paying attention. All of a sudden I look and she's like, we're waiting for you. And I'm like, my name's Kelly. And she's like, I knew that. I've never had a Shannon, ever.
Probably backstage during strike at Dreaming of Forest. There was a lot of things that were said that shouldn't have been said. And that we all found out about each other. But what happens during strike stays during strike.
During Almost Maine, when we took it on tour at ACTF, and I can't remember if it was after the first scene, or I think it was at the end of the show, the applause was the loudest I'd ever heard. And usually you expect applause to die down after a while, but no, it just kept going and going and going. And one thing that really struck me is when we were on our way back to the hotel, someone searched on Twitter #AlmostMaine. And there were tons and tons of Twitter posts of people who just adored the show, and it was just a fantastic thing to work on.
John Mariano coming and talking to me in the coffee shop before I was ever even a major.
Last semester, Theater History 2, watching John's one-man version of the Sturm und Drang play was the funniest thing I have ever seen in my life.
One that stands out is my first show was 12 Angry Jurors, and Derek taught us the game Bunny Bunny, and none of us had ever heard of it before, including John Mariano. And it just got so ridiculous so fast. We were all yelling bunnies and carrots at each other, and John was laughing so hard he actually fell out of his chair and was pounding on the floor, and we all just, it was just about the funniest thing I've ever seen. Well, acting through with Laura, we got to go to the zoo and see the red pandas, so that's kind of a tough call.
My favorite, the theater class, boy, that's hard to say. I don't know if I could necessarily choose a favorite. Intro to Design was pretty awesome.
Toss up between Intro to Design because of the awesome things we learned, and both makeup classes because I was able to explore and do lots of things that I didn't know that I could do, and found something that I felt really passionate about.
Any of the acting classes is also, of course, great.
Audition time.
I like the theater history classes.
My favorite class would probably be advanced stage lighting with Mike. Just because we spent an entire class period just playing with moving lights. We had no other assignment. Mike just sat us down on the board and said, go to town, see what this thing can do.
I don't know if I could choose one.
Tell the story better than it's ever been told before.
Intelligence speaks quickly.
You know, I was thinking of going through like the Chad quote book, but I'm actually going to go with something that I said. My favorite quote is "Chicken one standing by," and that is from Bob Rauschenberg, America.
We can't have nice things. I'm gonna have to go with that.
My always go-to Chad quote is we were on Spot Op. Chad was our mini stage manager for directing us for spot directions, and during Cabaret, he said during the Money song, they were wearing the chain shirts, and Chad just goes, here comes the money monsters, and then you just hear me over headset go, Chad, I think those are called prostitutes.
I feel like anytime Matt Harris or Pat Fincutter talked to me was just hilarious because I don't think they ever talked nicely to me, but it was always from the heart.
I should have killed her by now, but I never killed her. I play a song in my bags, and I had a wee bit of trouble with my bags, didn't you ask? So I tied her up, put her in the levee, and put my bags in my bloody poked. That one.
Probably try out for more of the studio productions.
I would stop being so shy in the beginning and hindering myself.
Graduate on time.
Actually do well in my stagecraft final.
Get involved in more shows. It took me a couple years to get into that mindset where you should really be involved with as many shows as possible, because again, that is the best way to learn, is on-the-job experience. If you have time and your grades can support it, be a stage manager, or even be a master electrician as many times as you can. Be as involved as possible, because it's the best way to have a good experience.
I probably would have majored in theater, maybe double majored with something else, but so that I didn't get to a point where I had already taken all of the classes I needed. It's like, I want to take more classes, but I can't because I'm about to graduate. So
I probably would have auditioned my first semester instead of my third year in the department because that was just funny.
okay.
But then I did land the role of Miss Carnahan. It was Carnahan. And I was the star of the show. Offstage voice. Got a line note on my 10 lines. Hilarious. Oops.
What was your line note?
I was saying Miss instead of Mrs. No, I was saying Mrs. Miss. Wait, what one's with the R? Mrs. I was saying Miss instead of Mrs. Didn't read that until like the opening night. And I was like, Chad, why are you in my junk email? Because I don't get any real emails to my email. And I was like, hilarious. Taylor Heft and I never let that die. Oh, hilarious, obviously.
Tall.
Snarky.
Optimistic?
Odd.
Crazy?
Wouldn't even be a word. It would just derp. That's, zoom out. It wouldn't even be a word, it just, and then people would be like, Derek. That's what happened.
Okay.
That's what would happen.
At the beginning, it was the people that you get to work with, because it started off way back. It was I had my friends they were into this crazy theater thing, and I was like, oh, they're into it. Maybe I should see what it's all about. And then once I kind of got into it, I made more friends and more friends. And then once I was like into it, I realized that it was also the coolest thing you could do because it's always going to be different.
I never saw myself doing anything else ever.
Nothing else has made as much sense to me as theater. To be in it, it's more than just art. You know, for shows, even if it's a comedy, you can move people, and I think that is one of my favorite things about theater is the power that it can have over people, how it can move people, how it can affect people.
I picked theater because I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else for the rest of my life. I just have to do things and make things all the time. I just would smack my head on a wall if I had to do anything else. And I found people who are as crazy as I am. So.
More
I
officially than that.
originally wasn't even in the department. I was going for German education, which is where I was last semester. But then I met like Pat, and he was like, take this dance class with me. And I was like, done. And then I was like, oh, I might as well just become a minor because I love Patrick.
It's in my blood.
Because it's fun. There are very few jobs that you can do that I feel can give you the sense of satisfaction that the final strike does. When you get done, you're tired, you're sore, but you're eating pizza, and you're thinking to yourself, we got a show together. There were problems, there was good, there was bad, but we made it happen. And that's some of the most satisfaction I've ever got.
Cool.